Hi, sorry about that.
Okay. Oh, good.
Okay. All right, I apologize. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen again. And I will not push any buttons until we're done. Okay. There we go. Okay, so can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so local storage is a way of storing data to a user's computer. And the benefit of that is then you can access that information after you've closed the browser and opened it up again. The computer will remember it, and you can re-access it. It's similar to cookies, but it's better because it doesn't have the negative connotation of cookies. You can store more data, and it doesn't cause a decrease in performance when you store stuff. So what you can store is strings in key value pairs. And so if you need to store anything bigger than a string, then you need to store it in a JSON string. And so you use JSON stringify and JSON parse to access it. And with that, you can store numbers, arrays, objects, lots of different things. But don't store sensitive data like social security numbers, account numbers, anything like that, because it's not secure.
Hiram
Hiram's trying to get in.
join to us.
Um, send another link. There has to be an easier way. We need to figure out a better way of doing this because it's hard every single week.
Yeah, but it was the same problem with Alfredo. We spent a lot of time.
Yes, and the teacher said to send a link so that he could come and visit it, but I don't think it's the same link every time. So I think maybe we're setting it up incorrectly. I'm not sure. But it does waste a lot of time trying to get going. Any ideas, anyone? if you could watch at the link. Let me see if I can. Oh, there he is. Okay. Hi, Hiram.
Oh,
Are you there? Hiram?
Oh, that worked.
Okay, good. All right, so we're late, so I'm going to just quickly go back over what I've covered so far. We're talking about local storage, and it's a way of storing information on the user's computer so that in another session you can go back and re-access that information. And it's similar to cookies, but it's better because you can store more and it doesn't hurt the performance as much. So you can store things in in strings in key-value pairs. And if you want to store things like objects and arrays, you need to put it in a JSON string and don't store any sensitive data. Okay, so here is the way of storing things, the syntax. To set an item in local storage, you do local storage.setItem, and then in parentheses the key and the value. The key needs to be in parentheses. The value needs to be in parentheses if it's a if it's a string. But if it is a variable, then you would not put it in parentheses. To get something that's been stored in local storage, it's local storage.getItem with the key. And to remove something, if you're done using it and you want to reset it, it's just local storage.removeItem and the key. So here is a way to store a string. Basically, again, local storage.setItem and then a key and a value. Or you could save it into a variable before you did it, and then in that case, again, you put the variable and not the actual value. And then to access it, you would do local storage.getItem and then the key. And you can use it just inside, I don't know what it's called, the second half of, like when you're setting a variable, you can stick it inside a variable as you're accessing it. Or you could access it and then parse it and then stick it in a variable. I'll show you that in just a second. But this would end up saying, okay, so here is an array. Same thing, I've stored an array inside a variable. And then when you put a key and then stringify it and then the variable. You could stringify it first. You could put the stringify here, and then you would just have to say local storage.setItem and then colors and colors. But because I hadn't stringified it first, I have to do it there. And then to get it out, same thing. You just use the key and local storage.getItem, and I've created this using the name from before, and then one of the items from the array. So getting the item from the array, you have to parse it, get it out of storage, and then it's an array, so you just put whichever item from the array you want. Anybody have any questions so far?
no.
Okay. Then an associative array, remember, is basically the same thing as an array, except for it has key value pairs itself. So here I've stored an associative array in sizes, and then I set it into the local storage with the key value, the key, and then I stringify the value. And then to get it out, local storage.get item, and then I use the key. And here's where I've used the associative array. And so I get it out of local storage, I parse it, and then I use the key to get the item that I need from the associative array. And then finally, here is an object. I stored the object inside of a variable. I stringified it, and then I stored it in local storage. And then to get it back out, this is the simplest one. Basically, I pulled it out of local storage with get item, and then after that, I parsed it. And I have an example of one, let me see if I can find it quick, that I have used, more of a realistic use of it. So I have this simple website that's asking for the name and a color. And so I'll just put in tiny blue. And I've used that information. I've stored it in the local storage, and I'll show that to you. Because is if I reset it, it stays in local storage, and so I'm able to access it again. Let me show you the code for that. Okay, let's see the code for that. Okay, why can't I see it? Does anybody know? Maybe I have to
It's maybe in application.
Click on the gray arrows on the console.
The gray arrows on the console.
So
Here?
the console like tab thing. Oh, where'd you go? Where was that?
I think it's in application, Tommy. Not in console, in application. And after that, local storage.
Okay, so basically I've stored blue and I've stored Tammy. And so then when I go back and reload the site, it can access those again, but you still can't see my JavaScript. But
Go back to where it showed HTML and script. I can't remember which one you clicked on. So click on the gray arrows on the left.
Thank you. Okay, so basically I'm getting the element from the input, and then I'm saving it into local storage here. And then here is the name one. Basically, I am saying if there's something stored in local storage, then get it out of local storage and display it in the name input. So it's displaying here, but then, it's displaying here. So if I put Tammy in here again, then it displays it here, it displays it here, and then it's in the local storage. So is that an application? So here, see, it's there and there. And then if I remove it using using local storage.remove, then it takes those out. Okay. Sorry, that was not as smooth as I thought it would be. Does anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. Then Vlad, I believe you are going to present. Go ahead.
Okay. So you need to put me in main.
Yes,
screen.
I've done that.
Okay. Okay. Hopefully it works. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so my topic today is DOM. What DOM means is how it's here. We can write document object model, and document object model stands separately from HTML, but it can specifies how browsers should create a model of an HTML, and how JavaScript can access and update contents of HTML web page. So here we can see DOM tree. So this is structure of document object model, and I want very fast explain the main types of nodes here. So we have document node, it's on the top, and we have element nodes, and with all these nodes, programming languages can work and to do something. And we have text node right here, and text node, they children of element node, and they cannot have any children. And also we have attribute node, and attribute node, it's not child of element, but it's part of element. So if you will delete or replace element, so you will delete attribute also. So it's this some specific with DOM tree. So here I have some very simple HTML page. Can you see it?
Yes.
So I have in my HTML only 4 paragraphs. So right here, so they have, most of them have special ID, and one of them wrapped in a div element. So pretty simple HTML document. So how we can work with document object model? So first we can create some element. So it can be anything what you want with create element method. So document. So by the way, I assign document to some variable in order to access document node only one time. So it improves runnability for slow devices like slow laptops or mobile phones. So first we create some elements. It can be paragraph, like in my case, or it can be image or input, some input, anything. And when we create it, so you can work with this element, you can add some text to this element or something else, but it's not yet the part of document object model. So it's now it's separate from this model. But if we can check it, so we can see on our page syntax error. One second. I don't know why. So you can see that we create paragraph and it shows that we created. So second things, after creating element, we can add some text to our elements. So here, for example, for first element, I add text. I'm first insert before element. And again, if we can, we want to see on the page, we can see that this text exists right now. So what we do next? Next, we with DOM tree. If you have any question or comments, please add. So here, in order to add our element to document object model, so you need first specify some place where you want to add it. So in my case, I specified some paragraph get element by ID wrapped. So if you can see, this is paragraph number third paragraph. So and it stands in div element. So I specified place where I want to edit, and after that, maybe you can do it before. So first you connect content with element. So you can do it with append child method. So you can connect, for example, in this case, you can connect first element with first text. And after you connect it, you add this element in DOM tree with this code. So this is specified place where we can add it. And parent node, in our case, it will be div. Our div, this is parent node for this paragraph. And append child, again, function. So we connect parent node with element 2. So right now, element 2 is siblings of our wrap paragraph with ID wrapped, and div, this is his parent. So if we can see for right now, so if you can see, we add this element in DOM tree now, and append child add element in the end, this method. So if we do, if we use insert before method, we can add element before some specific element. So in my case, it's so I want to add element 1, and in parentheses this is first place, and before paragraph with ID wrapped. So if we can see, so my first element I add before my third paragraph. Any question? Hiram here? Because it looks like he is not here, but I'm not sure. Okay.
I'm here. I just have my camera also because my internet's being really slow today.
Okay. Okay. So this is insert before. Also, we have function, not function, method replace child. So it's the same like insert before structure. So what element? So I want element 3 replace some paragraph. So here first I specified this paragraph. So it will be in my case it will be paragraph number 4. And after that I replace it with replace child method. So if we can see here, so it will be right here. I'm sorry, replace element. Also, we can add some attributes to our new elements or old elements. It doesn't matter. And we can do it by 2 ways. So we can do it with set attribute method, and we can specify it, this is ID or class or something else, and name of attribute. Or we can do it with second method. Second way is easier. Just element. So in my case, it's element 3 dot ID and equals and name of our attribute. So I think this is easiest way to do it. So we cannot see nothing on the page, but if we will see on, for example, inspector, so we can see here my attribute for third element and new attribute for first element, what I had just recently. So one other thing what we can do so in the beginning I add content with method create text node. In this way we cannot do anything inside of our text here. So for you cannot see here content element 4. So here I add text for element 4 within HTML, and this way I can add some special elements like bold or underline to it. So I add some text, and I want to edit this element. I want to add after element with ID my add. So it will be after element 3. And right here. So after element 3, I add fourth element bold. And what we can do else, so we can remove some element or delete some element. We can do it with remove child method. So first in this step I create some new element after paragraph with removed ID. So in HTML page it will be first paragraph. And so I create element 5 after first paragraph. So as you can see here, there is my element. So this is fifth element. Why it's add in the end? What you think about it? So I specified that I added after first paragraph, and it's added here. So why you think it's add here, but not after first element?
Go back to your code.
Mm-hmm. This is my code, line 80.
And removed is your first element?
Yeah, so I specified, yeah, remove, this is my first element.
I don't know why.
So, yeah, Hiram?
Your HTML, can I see it?
Yeah, my HTML here. So removed element here.
That's not what I thought.
So that's because I specified parent node, and parent node for paragraph is body.
So it does at the end. Okay.
Yeah, so it's added to the end of the body. So if I, for example, if here I did like this, so in this case it will be different. So it will be after first paragraph, but in this case, this is new element. It's child of paragraph, first paragraph. In first case, it's siblings of first paragraph and child of body. So that's something good to know. So and after that, after I create it, but I change a little bit. And see it. So now I delete my fifth element. So I think that's it. And I want to show some quick so right here I create some simple example. So for example, first example, use replace child and set attribute method. So for example, if I put Alfredo, so it's replace every time, or Tommy, so it's replaced. And it's important in this example, when I delete, how I told before, when I delete this or replace this element, so I need to create new one with ID, because it's delete everything, and element and ID. And here some code to play with list. So if we can add some color, so it's add to the list, add to the end. So I use it here, just append child, and We can delete last element or delete first element. Oh, by the end, it has two. So it has list first child and list last child. So you can use it when you work with list to delete last element or first element. So that's my presentation.
Thank you. I have a question.
Yeah.
You said at the beginning that if you replace an element, or if you delete an element, you delete the attributes. If you
This one.
So if you change the inner HTML, does that also change the attributes?
So I think when we use inner HTML, this is not exactly that we replace.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you replace the entire thing, then it does.
Yeah. If with inner HTML it will works, but in my case I don't use in my code inner HTML. So I need, after I replace my first.
Did you use the a new text node?
Yeah, so one second. So in my like here, I use create text node. Yeah, how I told.
And how do you decide whether to use create text node or inner HTML?
So in my, maybe Hiram can say something about it. I think when we use inner HTML, it's not so it's not exactly we change DOM element, but it's so in inner HTML it works in any cases.
Okay.
So that's what I know about it.
Okay, I couldn't figure out the answer exactly either. Hiram, do you know anything about that?
No, I still have to do some more research.
Okay.
I really don't understand this either.
So I hope it was helpful.
It was, thank you.
From my understanding, it's the global and local attributes. So if you apply it to global, then the attributes stay. But if it's just within that specific area, the attributes will be deleted with that element there. So as long as you put it in global, then it should be all right. But if you put it just with that area, then it'll be deleted.
Mm-hmm.
For the attributes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay,
so thank you. That was good. Does anybody have anything that they need help with for any of the other subjects that we've done? Is everybody doing all right?
Yep.
I think I'm fine. I just need to catch up on the work. So.